All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What's What BR. Again, today we have Chef Celeste has come back to give us kind of an update in her world and kind of
hmm
how things are spinning. As usual, first, how are things this morning?
Things are going well. Kind of busy. I'm over in the office at Southside Gardens right now. So yeah, the morning started off nice and busy.
Eh, That's that's how all the Monday mornings should start out, right?
Yeah,
Just a
can't
purpose,
complain.
something to go do. I
Yep.
couldn't imagine if I woke up on a Monday morning and just was like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine any day. Like if I was like, yeah, I don't really have anything to do today, or
Right, right.
I find even when I do vacations, it takes me about 3 days for
hmm
the anxiety to go away of not doing something, before I
Yeah,
can actually relax. And then I get like a day and then it's time to come back, but
that's true. That's true. The only thing that relaxes me like that is water. So if I go to look at the water, then I can instantly switch off. Like
uh,
the phone is there.
so
I keep that handy.
maybe we need to do that. Maybe we need to record live from the beach one day. That's what we should do.
That would be
On
awesome.
location, go to the beach, and just see.
Yeah, yeah. I can
So
see that.
So tell me, with that in mind, going to the beach, we are one step closer. It seems like
Yeah,
today is the beginning of the new normal, unnormal kind of world. What's
it is.
what's a little bit what's new? I guess start with that. Kind of from a little bit.
Okay.
Over at Southside Garden. What's your day? What's your roadmap? What are you thinking this morning?
Well, yeah, we'll start off at Southside Gardens here. We opened the dining room up. So our residents on the independent side, they can come in the dining room and eat breakfast and their lunch. And of course, dinner is delivered. But we still have social distancing in place. Like we've taken out half the chairs and we've separated the table. So it's only two per table. And we've kind of offset the way they
Mm.
sit as opposed to them sitting directly in front of each other. So we've done that to put those measures into place, and we have a nice cleaning regimen anyway, but we've upgraded that to wiping down the backs of the tables, the chairs, all of that in between each sitting. So it's just ready for the next person when they come in. Then on the assisted living side, we're taking a little more precaution over there. We're still serving with disposables. That way,
Mm.
we can make sure that everything that is used is discarded. And just trying to be mindful, even the staff, mindful of where we go around the city, even though it's opening up, so that when we come back into the building, we're still nice and safe. I still have my trusty mask.
Hmm.
And, we wear a mask. That's hence the headgear. Since I'm here at Southside now, we keep our hair completely covered. So anything that can aid in passing on the virus, we just try to eliminate all of that. So
Right.
it's up to,
Well, I was thinking about it when you said, though, social distancing. Yes, it's social distancing, but if you've been in isolation, and kind
mhm,
of sticking to yourself for the last, 6, 8 weeks, moving to
mhm,
a cafeteria, even if you're 6 feet away, from somebody, that doesn't feel very distant anymore, so I'm sure the residents love
exactly.
it.
They love it. And we were going to try and hold off on this side just a little longer to see, but I think we would have had some angry seniors on our hands. So they have been so patient with this whole virus situation. So they are excited to be in the dining room, and they're visiting, and they don't linger. And even our 101, I think Miss Reynolds was 101. She still comes in every day. She gets her mail. She puts her mask on, and they're enjoying life. So
That's amazing. And they've done phenomenal through this, this whole
yes,
process, the way you guys have handled, from the food, because that's bringing outside in,
hmm
preparation, taking care of it. As you said, you guys coming out. So with all of the things that still have to happen, Southside's done amazing through this. We haven't seen any,
yeah,
clusters. We haven't, I think Mark was on last time and told us they had, like one
right,
isolated case, right?
hmm
So,
right. We have one isolated case. And we'll just keep an eye on how things go right now with reopening. And that when we reopen, that means that visitors are allowed, and we just have to keep an eye on if we have any cases that come about from that. But yeah, the staff has done a phenomenal job of trying to keep the virus at bay. So kudos to them.
And I think that's, a testament to what you've done as well. It's one thing for somebody like me to wipe down a desk with Lysol. It's one thing, to kind of separate, do those things, but you got to deal with food, and making sure, is it sourced from a safe place? Did we get it here in a safe way? How do we prep it? How do we store it? How do we make sure we get enough, not too much, there's a lot more going in, it's one thing to, feed your family. It's another thing to feed, a whole community, every single day.
It is. And what we're running into right now, and I think we touched on that earlier, is shortages in the meat supply. And it's not that the meat is in short supply, it's that the suppliers and the processors, they're dealing with the virus also. So they're having to close plants. So the thing we're noticing right now is pork. You're not really going to find a pork chopped in bulk, the packet. I can order them. Like I ordered pork ribeyes yesterday. And my rep, she texted back. She's like, there is no pork ribeyes. I'm like, I know, I'm just trying. If I can get some in, I just want to put them in the freezer. But for me, I keep a supply of food, whether it's here at NeuroMed, at the Council on Aging. And when people first get to know me, if I'm coming in, it's like, well, why'd you order so much food? I was like, well, we may need it one day. And we keep, as long as you rotate that food in and out, you won't have a problem of freezer burn or anything like that. But right now, you can't get ground beef. That we get the 80-pound cases of ground beef. Wow. So those are out right now, but I have a supply of, I have enough ground beef in the freezer here at Southside to carry us for about 4 to 6 weeks. Wow. So hopefully some of these things have washed out so that by the time we need to place another order, if that, the supply chain is back in process. But other than that, we have to change the menu up a little bit. And those are some of the things I had to let them know over at the hospital. Some of the things that we have on the menu, we may have to do some substitutions. At the restaurants, we may have to take burgers off the menu once it gets really scarce and the prices are going up. It's close to $6 a pound right now. And
really? And that transcends outside. This isn't just, yes. I'm assuming this isn't just in, if you're buying bulk food. This is probably, I've talked about from the beginning, that we're going to see waves, of this virus. Yes. And one that I've talked about from the beginning, when everybody was running around looking for toilet paper, I was making the comment that it was like, it's not just that you need toilet paper to be made. You need the plastic wrap to go around the toilet paper because Georgia Pacific, and all those guys can make, as much of it as you want. But if they don't have the plastic wrap to, wrap around it and put it into the cardboard box to then get it out, you need all of that. You don't need just the toilet paper. So you're starting to see, and I guess where I was going with that is, I hadn't heard it yet, but there's some, ground beef, that's obviously it's trickle down, right? It's the guy who's got, the livestock has got to get to a processor to get to a packer, all the way across. And we haven't really seen that. I think we've seen a rush on, and when you've gone to the store, I think over the last couple of months, and you'd be like, oh, they don't have it. I think that's more of just everybody grabbing, in bulk buying, and they've limited. But now you're saying it sounds like that there may be just that supply chain's got to catch back up and restock, a community.
Exactly. And what I think you'll notice in the grocery stores, they'll probably start to limit the amount of certain items that you can pick up. And that helps to ensure that everybody or a lot of people can get it, as opposed to one person just hoarding, all of one item. But yeah, we're seeing it on my end with beef, with a lot of the pork items. Chicken, not so much right now, but that will probably be the next phase, because if you can't get these two, you're going to chicken and the seafood. So, but those are in good supply right now. And of course, I'm going to give a plug, which I don't think I've given any plug since we've done this here, but Louisiana has some of the best seafood. So, when we do our catfish, it's U.S. farm raised catfish. Our shrimp, that's Gulf shrimp. I use Louisiana Seafood Exchange. They're one of my favorites. And the only reason I just gave that plug is because they were out here when everything was getting scarce. And I remember getting a delivery about 3 weeks ago. And when the guy opened the truck, I saw maybe 2 deliveries on the back of that van. I'm like, oh, wow, it's affecting everyone. So, but good news is when I saw him Thursday or Friday of last week, he was like, I'm going to Lafayette, I'm going here, I'm going there. And the driver was like, I have to go everywhere. And it's like, and that's a good thing. That means ramping back up. We're ready to open.
I don't know if it's, we're running through its course, or it's just people getting fed up, where but I think it's a combination of we're kind of running the course, easing some guidelines. But I think also we're seeing just a lot of people have said, it is what it is. I've got to, we're still going to have to do this. How do we move forward? What is, I've talked to a lot of people, and in the beginning, this was a big wave where everybody said, ready for it to go back to normal, And I think a lot of people have adjusted to where it's like, look, I don't even care for normal. I'm just ready to get back to work, whatever it means, whatever we've got to do. And I think that's a good place to be. I've had so many phone calls where people identify the problem and they literally say, all right, it's not going to be the way that it was. We're not going back to normal. So what do we do?
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, you didn't hear that. People were like, okay, how do we get to the other side of this? When is it going to go back to normal? Now people, I think, are making the adjustments. And like I think you just mentioned, at the restaurant, it might be that, hey, hamburgers are not going to be there. Move on. We'll get them. They'll come back.
They will come back. And that's the thing I was discussing with another restaurateur yesterday. You have to adjust or you're not going to make it at this point right now, because there are so many things that are changing still on a daily basis. The availability of a lot of the items are still changing on a daily basis. Your to-go boxes, for example. I have to-go boxes, 3-compartment boxes from my vendor here today, but I hadn't had those in about maybe a month. So I would order my 3-compartment boxes. They send me the big 1-compartment boxes. I was like, okay, I understand. I'm going to order 3-compartment every week. And every week it's like, well, you're going to get what I send you. So what we did, we just ordered the bowls with the lids, and we made our own 3-compartment boxes. So you have to adjust.
It goes back to, I've got, I think we've mentioned before, I know I've mentioned on other shows, I've got 7-year-old twin boys, and I think some of the best advice for anybody has come from them. And I think it came from they didn't make it up. It came from their teacher. And it was just a real simple, it was, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
I like that. Because that is how it is right now. And as long as you're getting a quality product, we can't choose what we're going to get right now. I'm going to switch gears over to the Council on Aging, and then we'll back around to the hospital and the restaurants. But even with Council on Aging, we buy in such large quantities. And right now we've put out about 80,000 meals. But it's really heavy on the ground beef, on the chicken. We've taken the seafood off the menu right now because we're feeding so many other of the parish seniors besides the ones that are signed up, but chicken, pork, beef. And once that supply kind of diminishes, we have enough to carry us for, a few weeks on that. But our supplier, we use merchants over there, and they've been awesome. So they've been keeping us in a steady supply. But if we have to change the menu, they already know the dietitians are on tap. If they need to change something, change the nutritionals, that's what we're going to do. And that's why Angel couldn't be here. They're still planning on getting everything straight for opening up. Somebody else to answer that. But we're going to open more sites as of Wednesday. We're going to open majority of the senior sites so that we can deliver hot meals to each of them and they can come and pick up food in their area. They still can't come in and dine. It'll still be a drive-through, but at least, we're still supplying those hot meals and everything that we need to for the seniors. Last Wednesday, we did a huge food drive where they came through, they got a hot meal, they got pantry. They picked up all of their groceries, and we served about 6,000 seniors.
Wow. And that's one of the things, you skipped right through it, which isn't, it's normal for you. I turn around and put food on a plate, and it's literally about putting the amount of food on the plate. It has nothing to do with dietary, right? It's like, I've got a can of this, or I've got a fresh that, this fills the big section, this quarters, the other two. I'm not thinking, all the diet. I don't even know it, but that's one of the things. Not only is it you guys putting together good hot food, but it's dietary. It's the health, there's more to, opposed to popular opinion in South Louisiana. There's more to eating than just the taste, right? So you guys have to, plan that into account as well.
We do. And I was looking, I look on Facebook and everybody's there, they're cooking and they're posting these pictures, and some of them look really good. And then some of them like, oh my goodness, I see 3 starches. There's 2 meats on here. Then there's meat in the vegetables. And I'm like, no, we have got to get away from that. That, when it comes to our senior feeding, we do a starch, meat, a vegetable, and then they get their bread, their fruit, their milk, everything that goes along with that meal. And we give them a well-balanced meal. So that's what we do there. That's what we do at Southside Gardens. That's what we do for our patients over at NeuroMed. And that's just something that I've been doing my entire career. When I graduated, my first job was at a Salvation Army Alcohol and Treatment Abuse Center. That was in Hawaii. And I was actually the first female that they hired because it was for the men coming out of prison. So the way I got that job was like, Peter, they want to go home. They're not interested in me because we were there unchaperoned. And that was a learning experience on bulk cooking. And then when we moved to Virginia, I worked at Sunrise. And that's where I started with senior housing, senior feeding. And I just enjoy it because there's something gratifying about taking the senior that used to be at home, possibly cooking for themselves or going out to eat. And then you have a captive audience where everybody's not going to like it every day. But I still try to make sure that you enjoy your meal every day. That just never goes away. So
that's well, what's happening over on the NeuroMed side of things? You kind of given us an idea, that's got to be a little bit different of a case, over there.
It is. NeuroMed, we have the rehab floor and our second floor where the patients are. And we give them, they follow a well-balanced diet also. The second floor is a little more, we can be a little more adventurous with their food, but we still keep it on the comfort food side. But we have special diets there also because they're having surgery. Most of them have had surgery and they go in through the neck or they've been intubated. So we try to make sure the food is soft enough, but still very flavorful. The cafe, I am happy to say, in the last week, I've seen the numbers starting to come back up. And since we're opening and they can do more surgeries now, we'll start to see the visitors coming in. Because I'll tell you, we've had some $200 days. And that is not good.
I talked with somebody the other day and it's sad and exciting at the same time. They were saying, our numbers, we're down only, 40% or we're down 50 or 60. And they were excited. They were like, that's all we're down right now. We're clawing our way back. People are moving, back into, people are getting comfortable, but I think we've got a whole nother swing where people are going to, you've got a group that is moving, that is going out, and that's going to be some percentage, and that's going to bring some percentage back of everyone. But you got a whole nother group, I think, that's worried about going out, that's very worried about leaving. And so that's still going to be, be at home, you're not going to eat at the restaurants. You're not going and doing those things. any tip you've got for somebody who's still there on doing one of those healthy diets? You'd mentioned, like a starch, but for the guy who doesn't keep up with that like me, the starch
Now you're talking about the ones
is,
at home or what?
yeah, the ones at home, so if you've got to be at home, what's something, that's going to keep you, eating healthy? You'd mentioned, like get one meat, don't put meat in the vegetables, get a starch. Is there a rule of thumb, when you're cooking for yourself or somebody at the house?
I would say when you're cooking at home, number one, I take majority of the snacks out of the house. Now, if you have kids, that may be a little hard. So we're gonna, but you still need to limit the unhealthy snacks. Don't take them all away. I mean, I love chips. I just don't keep chips at home. And keep some fruit in the house. That way, that's a healthier snack. But when you're cooking, take your favorite, get a list of your favorite starches, whether it's macaroni and cheese, roasted potatoes, baked potatoes, rice and gravy. Just choose one per day or one per meal. If you have to have both, then cook lunch and then cook a dinner. So, but not two starches on the same plate. When it comes to the meat, just get you a nice healthy portion of meat. But when you're cooking your vegetables or things like that, use other flavorings in there. Use some onions, bell pepper, salt, garlic, all of that. I do not put meat in my vegetables. I don't put meat when I cook red beans and rice. And a lot of people think that you cannot have delicious beans without the meat in there. Well, you can. And it just, when you make these small changes, you won't miss the fact that, well, I didn't have any salt pork or I didn't have any smoked turkey necks in the meat. If you want to have smoked turkey necks, cook that on the side and you have your smoked turkey, you have your beans, you have your vegetable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's one of the things, like you said, don't keep it at the house. If you don't have junk at the house and you have healthy food at the house, when you're at the house, you can't do anything but eat healthy, right? It's
right. I wanted chips so bad last night. I really did. I was like, should I drive? Should I not drive? You know what I made? I had roasted a chicken and I still had some lettuce there. So I made a nice chicken salad. And I put some sun-dried tomatoes in there. They were a little chewy. They weren't crunchy, but they still gave me that chewiness that I was looking for, and drizzled that with a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of honey, and it just satisfied the taste buds.
And didn't need a bag of chips.
Nope. Nope.
So you've got, obviously, we're kicking off on Monday here, new week. What's going forward this week? What's the big project, in the back of your mind that, hey, I've got to kick this into gear this week, or
yes,
this is on my list.
This week is the downtown location. So we have been kind of stagnant down there, but that was really low. Those were like $30, $40 days. So now that we're opening back up, we're still going to do Wednesday through Saturday this week. And then Monday, we'll kick back into full gear Monday through Saturday. I've hired 2 assistants, and they're going down today and just, getting everything straight. We're bringing the food in tomorrow so that we will be set. We will have to change some things on the menu because obviously pulled pork won't be one of the staples on the menu. When I can get my hands on some, then we'll run that as a special. So we'll still have a fairly limited menu, according to what we can get. But that is the main goal for this week, is to get the downtown bistro up and running and have get the sales back up to where they need to be. So we're going to work on office lunches. So if people need boxed lunches for staff meetings, we'll be able to handle that. Also, the newest venue, 520 Spain, we're going to offer those for private meetings. So if you need to have a meeting and you want to get outside of the office, you can come to 520 Spain. We'll have either, if you want it buffet style, we'll have someone there to serve it for you, or we'll have individual boxes for you. And the beauty of having something in that space is that after each group, when you leave, that's going to be thoroughly cleaned and sanitized and set up for the next office group that wants to come in to do something. So we're not going to open up right now to have multiple people in at one time or multiple groups. It'll be, let's say if it's your office that want to come in, it's only you and your staff that's going to come in there, and it'll be thoroughly cleaned after each one.
And that might be, I've heard some teams doing that in different parts of the country where, people, instead of doing the shock of like, hey, we're going to send everybody home. And then instead of just everybody coming right back, it's starting to bring the teams together. Hey, let's have a meeting. Let's do 2.5 hours. Let's eat. Let's talk. Let's see where everybody is. How does everybody feel? And maybe we do that a couple times a week and kind of slowly bring people, back into play. But getting that team dynamic, I know plenty of teams, people, I haven't seen a lot of our team, in person, in a while. So but we are there, we've talked about this for, a long time that the sun is, going to come back out again. And I think it's time, this is where it's starting to come back.
I do. I agree. And the main thing, while we get back to our new norm, we just have to have safe practices no matter what. And I think moving forward, the safe practices will be something that's in play, hopefully forever. We all need to be mindful of personal space and hygiene, and that would help moving forward.
So are you still doing the meals? Last time we talked, you were doing some of the meal prep and putting all that together. How's that going?
That's going well. I actually, Chef French and his wife bought 2 packages this week. So that was a little nervous and exciting at the same time because I've always looked up to him. And I got that text message the next morning that everything was wonderful. This week I did an oven roasted chicken meal and then the shrimp and pasta meal. I think that one is going to be a staple. That one is really popular because they can come and get a quart of shrimp sauce and then get pasta and everything else. And you can kind of mix and match how you want to put that together. But that's going to be a mainstay. We're going to keep that, and then we're going to add to it.
Now, would you ever have thought 3 months ago that would have been, something that you'd be saying today, that we're going to do this, meal prep and these are going to stay? And
no, had not crossed my mind. That would have been the last thing on my list. But I like it. I mean, I have people, okay, what are you cooking this week, Chef? And a lot of times I'll do some of the things over here at Southside. And before I leave out of here, one of my staff members, she calls her daughter-in-law and they come and they just buy their package for the weekend. So, yeah.
I think it's a lot of people, we've always had, there's, Ubers come, for driving you around, they've had the grocery stores, we talked with a group, that also does, they're now doing laundry, on demand, they came on the show and we were talking with them. It's hopefully, obviously all of these services, they've got a cost, involved in it, but there's always a trade-off, cost and your time. So if you can, you still, especially on the food side, you'd still have to go buy it. You still got to prep it. You've still got to, get it ready. There's a lot of moving parts, and then there's also a lot of waste, as well, to where if you're somebody like me doing it at home, to where it's just easier, hey, I don't want to do this weekend, and I was thinking about it. I was going, I could sit on a Thursday, order some groceries, order some food for the weekend, get all the laundry sent off, all the stuff I would normally do on the weekend to get caught back up for the week. There's a lot of time we spend doing it. I could get probably half, of all that stuff, if not more, done before even getting into the weekend, or at least have it lined up, to where it could take some time, just to take a break. And so where I was going with that is, have you gotten a break lately? Every time we've talked, it's going 100 miles an hour, waking up, going from early in the morning till late at night just to wake up and do it again.
I have not had a break yet. I need a break. And actually, I will have a break starting next week. I actually go out for a procedure next week. So I'll be out for a minute. And I'm actually, believe it or not, looking forward to it. That I can take a break. But that's just something that's not really in my makeup, I guess, to just slow down. But right now I find that people like myself and probably like you, I'm looking forward to that break, because it's just something mentally I need the break. It's a little stressful, even though I thrive when we have natural disasters, anything like that, because I love feeding the masses. But this one is a bit much. I think with wearing the mask all day, every day, and we've been doing that for a while, and everything that has pretty much changed. So it's a lot to take in.
I think I find myself that I always say, I don't need a break. I don't need a break. I'm just going to keep going, keep going, keep going. But when I do get those little pockets, whether that be, an afternoon or a weekend, but even, the time that I can get away, I'm not away from it, but I'm able to look at it in a different light. I'm able to kind of think through some decisions and be a little more strategic than just react and just move to the next one. And I find some of the best, ideas and plans come from that. And so I think it's important that we all give ourselves a little bit of a pause, with a notebook to write it down. Here's what we're going to do next. Here's how we're going to, move to the next step. But I think we're all a lot more like everything, we're a lot more prepared. We know where we are. And I think we're as a community, a lot more accepting right now that, this is kind of the way things are.
Yeah. And hopefully that will change.
I think that's hopefully, I think as a community, we've all been able to slow down just a little bit and realize helping each other makes a big difference, and hopefully that sticks. If there's anything that comes out of this, I would hope that, sticks where people understand, stop hoarding everything. If you can cut your grass, cut your neighbors at the same time, do a little bit to help everybody.
That would go a long way. That transfers into your personal life and for me, into business. Why not kind of pull together, and you can get more done as a team, even if it's different vendors, you're in the same arena, but you work together and you get a lot done and everybody eats.
I've said it a number of times on this show. One of my favorite quotes with Zig Ziglar is, you can get anything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want first.
Yes.
And I believe that's your story in my mind in a nutshell, helping all these people, feeding, and, turns from 3 months ago, we weren't doing meal prep and sending meals home. You know what? That's what's needed right now. We're going to step up for that need. We're going to do that. We're going to keep the bistro, going. We're going to turn around and get that moving, filling a need. And I think that's the key. People run around and a lot of times in these, crisis and, disasters, and they try to run around and try to go find ways to make money and work the system. And that you just see people get burnt out. I think the people that really win, on this thing is the people that go, what do you need or how can I help? What do I need to do?
Exactly. So, because it will all kind of work out. And one thing that I would like for people to kind of understand when I'm out here and I'm doing these things, everything is not about money. We need money to sustain everything, but with the 80,000 meals that went out for Meals on Wheels, that's part of my job. Neuromed, that's my business, but that's part of my job. I have to feed these people. My goal is to make sure that everyone else is fed. When we did the food for the seniors last week with putting out the 6,000 bags and 2,000 hot lunches, you know what we did? We called 5 different restaurants around town and let them cater the food. You know how much of that food I catered and got paid for? None. That's not my job. I'm doing my job on a regular basis. And we put money in other people's pockets, and then we still took care of our regular seniors that didn't come out that day on the senior sites for the Council on Aging also. So I pretty much just found the vendors, made sure that they can handle it, and just brought them together. And it was awesome. I mean, they all came together. The food, it's a beautiful thing when you take different chefs and you put their food on one plate and it all just kind of marries together.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any parting words for the week? Anything somebody needs to know about other than, where do they send in the order for the food? If you want
Food
the meal
goes
prep.
in at info@chefceleste.com. I will
Mm-hmm.
have that out by Wednesday on what we're going to prepare. We are going to have the packages up and running on Waiter. Give me to the end of next week. I'm not that tech savvy, so that's what one of the assistants. I'm going to put them on that, so that way it'll be a little bit easier for them to pay and get it delivered to their door.
There you go.
That way they don't have to just drive down to
That's
the
exciting. I haven't seen anyone with the prep on Waiter. It's always, it's pre-done, it's in the box, but if you can do the prep on Waiter, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's the new thing we're going to do. Even with the ones this past week, it was partially cooked because I have a young, he's 14. He likes to cook for his family. And I partially cooked everything for him, gave him his instructions, and he took it home and finished it out. So we'll be bringing new things like that, getting the products out into the stores. So we'll have some exciting things. But I'm just glad to be a part of opening back up and seeing what's out here and what the new changes are going to be for the restaurants. So
yeah, we're part of a campaign. It's back to business. Everybody's been seeing it. We're happy to be a part of that and get that message. That we've really, we've all helped take care of our people. Now's the time to take care of our businesses. Let's get out. Help them. If it's on Waiter. If it's just supporting. If you know somebody, I tell everybody. The business owners, it's hard. We're doing some work with the storefront project and helping them on some things. And they're helping us with some things, but just one of the things I love is that they're highlighting, some of these business owners. It's hard. They're carrying the weight, of payrolls, they're carrying the weight of, business, and it's not just them and their families. It's all of their employees and all of their employees' families. So if you know a business, let them know, tell them, thanks, for sticking through and fighting through it. And thank you for everything you've done. We're tossing around 6,000 meals, 80,000 meals, and I'm just trying to feed 5 a day. And,
And if I can add to that, a lot of your businesses that offer gift cards, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a boutique, buy a gift card, something for, why not spend something now that maybe you can use for your Christmas shopping later or something like that. That way it will put some money into their pocket and to help out.
I can go one step with that one. I hate to use the term victim, but I had a cruise planned right in the middle of all of this. And they kept coming. It's like, okay, you can cancel, you can get a refund, you can do this. And I ultimately just made the decision, said, what, it's already been paid for. I'm just going to let it ride.
Yeah.
The industry will come back, and if anything, that boat will be cleaner than it's ever been in its life. Right. I can promise you that, right?
Oh, yeah.
But where I'm going with this is, buy the gift card, if you can. I've got, I mentioned it this weekend with my wife. I'm like, when it's all done, when we get back to normal, it's like that trip is bought, it's paid for. I won't have to go, put any money aside. I don't have to save it. Same thing with a gift card. Pick up the gift cards, even if you're not going out, and just stockpile them. Grab a $20 gift card. That makes a world of a difference, to that business owner, because in business it's cash flow, and you're helping their cash flow, and you can get repaid later. So if you grab a $20 gift card every time, when you go to the grocery store, we all got to do that. Grab one of the gift cards from one of the local businesses off the rack, pick it up, and just start putting them in a pile. And next thing you know, if you do that once a week with a little $20 gift card, you've got some real kind of gift card money to where when you're comfortable to go out, that you don't have to then spend that money then, pay it forward now. So
yes, I agree.
Well, look, I appreciate it. Like I said, any final thoughts, anything that we're missing that we need to make sure people know this week? Get your food orders in. Look, maybe next week on.
And info@chefceleste.com. Phone is 225-324-5616. That's actually my cell phone number, so I do answer. And and visit the restaurants. One is Chef Celeste Bistro in Merrill. The other one is in the Main Street Market downtown. And if you have a business out there that you need food catered to, box lunches, just give us a call. So we are out here. We are ready to take care of your needs. And I do appreciate each and every one of you.
Awesome. Well, Chef, thank you so much for being with us again. I look forward to on our next call. I want to hear that we've got waiter ready to go to where we can get some of this super easy. So that's my challenge for you, or for proxy for you to the intern. Let's get it, so we can make this easier on, because I think that makes it easier on you. So it makes it easier for all of us and easier on you.
I think so. Thank you.
Well, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.